What's going on YouTube? The Tesla Model Y has been a huge disruptor within the auto industry, quickly going from zero sales to one of the best-selling vehicles in the entire world. In the 6 years since it launched, many rivals have popped up, but none of them have been able to put a serious dent in the Model Y's success so far.
But now it finally might have met its match with the all-new Rivian R2. Designed in a clever and high-tech way and giving you a lot of features for the money, can this take down the king? Well, let's go ahead and find out.
The R2 and Model Y are available in several versions. And if you're looking to purchase one of them, make sure to check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price and access to invoice pricing information. Let's start with a look around the exteriors, where you are greeted immediately with stark differences. The Model Y has always gone for a sleek and futuristic design, which recently doubled down on that look with a refresh, adding slim headlights and a light bar across the front. The Rivian also has a light bar across the front, but that's basically where the similarities end, as they went for a boxy and rugged design aesthetic. While we definitely have a preference between the two, we won't be scoring the subjective element of design. And let us know what your preference is in the comments. However, we will score the many features and differences throughout, starting with the headlamps. Of course, both are projector LED units, but beyond that, both models have some of the first integrations of adaptive high beam technology in the US. This allows the high beams to stay on by manipulating individual pixels to cut around other drivers on the road and illuminate corners better. Moving around the vehicles, you might notice that the R2 is slightly shorter than the Model Y. That's not the whole story on space though, so stay tuned for that interior and cargo discussion later on. Out back, the design elements continue to differ, with boxy versus sleek being the name of the game. However, the features once again are similar, with prominent light bars and full LED lighting. The R2 has a blacked out roof, and it's the only one of the two that has a rear wiper, which is useful in inclement weather, even though Tesla deems it unnecessary. By the way, feel free to keep your own score along the way based on what elements are most important to you personally. Now, Rivian emphasizes being adventurous with their vehicles, which is why you will find a higher tow rating and significantly more ground clearance in the R2. Both mirrors have all the advanced features, including heating, blind spot monitoring, power folding, and auto dimming on most versions. Beyond BSM for the rest of the safety systems, they both include their brand's latest active safety suite, with extremely advanced suites of autonomous driving features as well. We won't attempt to compare their levels of hands-free capabilities, as both are continuously evolving with the help of AI. But there are even more important differences to discuss in the cabins as well, so let's get into that. But first,
If you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. Walking up to them, both have smart entry, digital keys, cabin preconditioning, and a variety of flush-mounted door handles. Opening the doors, you'll be greeted by minimalist interiors with emphasis on tech. Let's start analog though, with the seats. Both models come standard with premium leatherette seats, emphasizing a leather-free cabin. The design is a bit more elaborate on the Rivian, but both are plenty comfortable and have 12 ways of power adjustment, heating, ventilation, and memory. Once inside, we can get into the twofold category of overall materials and build quality. The refresh of the Tesla Model Y really brought some nice improvements on both of these categories over the previous version, adding a lot more solidity and more premium materials like cloth accents. That being said, it's the Rivian that offers a more luxurious looking and feeling environment, with excellent fit and finish, and a generous amount of open pore wood to elevate the experience. After startup, you'll be greeted by an instant difference. While the R2 utilizes a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, the Model Y lacks one completely and relies on its main screen for all relevant information. From what we've read in the comments, most people prefer being able to look forward and have access to that additional information, especially since neither of them has a head-up display. Moving back to the steering wheels, they both have premium wrapped wheels that are heated and power adjusting with very minimal controls. Now let's analyze the important aspect of interior storage. While we weren't able to get our official donut test of the R2's console space compared to the Model Y's 11 donuts, the R2 offers more storage in other areas, including the large open space, pop-out drawer, pop-out cup holders, and 2 glove boxes. Model Y is also strong when it comes to storage, but the Rivian takes the win here. However, it should be noted that the Model Y adds an additional wireless phone charging pad in its console area. Now to the shifters, or lack thereof in the Tesla. After its recent update, the vehicle predicts if you want drive or reverse, and then you can manually control it on the screen. The Rivian has a more straightforward shifter mounted on the steering column. In reverse, you'll be greeted by a 360-degree camera only on the R2. While the Model Y offers many camera angles, it still lacks a full 360 overhead view. Moving to the climate controls, they both house their functions in the screen for dual-zone automatic systems. This does, unfortunately, include the vent adjustments as well, which we find to be rather distracting. One positive for the R2 is that you can adjust the climate controls with the Halo controller wheel on the steering wheel. Now let's move on to sampling the audio systems. Overall, the Tesla has the richer sound quality from its 2 extra speakers. Now to the screens themselves, where the sizes are quite similar, as the R2 has a 15.6-inch display and the Model Y has a 15.4-inch unit. This is too close of a difference to score a point. Functionality-wise, they are both using incredibly advanced in-house software to power almost every function in the vehicle. While neither have the traditional comforts of Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you will still have satellite navigation and lots of built-in apps. Because these are software-defined vehicles, you can also expect new features to be added over the air to both the screen and throughout the entire cars. Up top, they'll share auto-dimming mirrors and large glass roofs that are tinted, but they don't open or have a sunshade. Now, families are sure to use these models for road trips and more, so let's discuss the space and packaging in the back seats to see if the size differences come into play here. Starting with the second row of seats, they are neck and neck with the space figures, and within a 5% difference, so no points will be awarded here. Beyond space, let's discuss the many features offered. While they both have vents, USBs, and heated seats, the Model Y has some advantages. It includes another screen in the back for passengers to use to stream or play games for rear entertainment as well. It can also power recline the seats. And while it may surprise you, the Model Y is the only one that offers an available third row, making the max capacity 7 versus 5 if you need the extra 2 seats in a pinch. Out back, both have power liftgates. The R2 also has a power window to increase versatility and enhance the open air feel while driving. Now let's address the cargo differences, where the boxier Rivian takes the lead here. While the Tesla is longer, the R2's design allows for a greater than 5% difference in both cargo measures, making it the more practical choice. Additionally, they have deep front trunks. And overall, both of them are very impressive in just how much space they packed inside. For cargo features, they both have 40-20-40 split folding seats. Only the Model Y has power folding seats that can be released and raised from the trunk area with the push of a button, but only the R2 has the factory spare tire option. Alright, that's it for the interiors. So now let's take this fight to the streets. Throughout this comparison, eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed that we've been using the performance trim R2 against the premium Model Y. That's because the premium and standard versions of the R2 will be entering production in the coming months and aren't yet available for us to test. Rest assured, the features we discussed prior to this section will remain the same regardless. As such, we will compare all the main specs generally across the lineups, and we think you'll be surprised at just how similar they are. Starting with performance, their dual-motor all-wheel drive systems produce 0 to 60 times that are almost exactly the same, and that trend continues for the performance trims as well. You will be thrown back into the seat when you put your foot down.
Whew.
Very nice. This is a quick vehicle, that's for sure. Kind of the most important thing is the 0 to 60, which they do test out and publish. And in this regard, it's quite a bit under 5 seconds.
Yeah, 4.6 seconds for this long-range all-wheel drive. That's really quick, especially for those of you that are maybe coming from a gasoline vehicle. This will feel like rocket ship type of speed. Electric vehicles with their instantaneous torque, and this one is a powerful electric vehicle at that. It will definitely feel fast.
Well, it's fast. That was
very fast.
That was actually 70 miles an hour. Just accidentally went up to 70 miles an hour because it is very swift with the acceleration.
Then you can option on the dual motor all-wheel drive from there, and that's have 450 horsepower, 537 pound-feet of torque, and drop your 0 to 60 to 4.6 seconds. So I think that for a lot of people is going to be the sweet spot.
As we mentioned, both models will have all-wheel drive systems as equipped. However, there is a big difference in capability to discuss. Rivians are built with adventure in mind, meaning that it has the advantage in ground clearance and off-road performance as compared to the street-oriented Tesla.
Wow. That is very impressive that this vehicle can handle that. Of course, like we said on the outside, this vehicle has 9.6 inches of ground clearance. So naturally, that's going to give you a lot of off-road capability. So far, we have not even hit a rock because of the ground clearance being so excellent in this vehicle.
Yeah, definitely. And the approach and departure angles are also really quite good. Off-road specs aside, let's talk about on-road manners, which are more important. We will split this category into both handling and ride quality. As the box here, more rugged R2 would suggest, it is less nimble on the back roads compared to the Model Y, which is more fun to drive. For ride quality, both these brands have taken flack in the past for not being as comfortable as many rivals, and thankfully both responded to that criticism with good and improved ride qualities.
And I know it hasn't been very long since we took off on this test drive, but I want to just go ahead and discuss ride quality for the refreshed Model Y. Now, this is an area where Tesla said they have made a lot of changes and improvements for this model, and I have to say, I think that's absolutely the case with this version. From the moment my butt hit the seat on this Model Y, I absolutely felt those enhancements. Like Drew said, we owned a Tesla Model 3 for several years, so we're very intimately familiar with this. And the solidity overall in the cabin when you hit a bump is definitely a huge improvement, and the overall ride quality, I think, is a huge improvement. We were able to drive this on the interstate on the way to this part where we're doing our test drive, and I have to say I'm pretty darn impressed once more. The ride quality on this, it's not the most comfortable in the luxury compact space. No, it's not quite as comfortable as something like a Mercedes GLC. However, I do think they've done a really good job of balancing the dynamics of this vehicle with the comfort. I do honestly feel like this rides just as nicely as something like the R1S with an air suspension.
But what about the noise levels in the cabins? Unfortunately, we cannot score this measure yet, as we just tested the Rivian at its press launch in Utah. But here are the readings for your reference anyways. We're excited to test it back home in Kentucky soon.
Very nice. 52.7 decibels is what we are sitting at as our official sound level reading. 51.4 is what we got as our sound level reading.
When it comes to range and charging, these two will also be neck and neck, with only a handful of miles separating the premium and performance versions of both. They are also both equipped with the latest NACS charge ports. However, the Model Y will be slightly quicker to charge at a DC fast charge speed of 250 kilowatts max versus 230 on the R2. Finally, let's discuss reliability and resale value, which lacks data for these non-traditional brands. As compared to your legacy automakers, neither Tesla or Rivian will be above the industry average when it comes to resale or reliability. Keep in mind, in our current market conditions, EVs typically do not hold their values as well as traditional gas models. We can discuss your warranty coverage, where both include about the same terms for basic and battery warranties, and neither offer complimentary maintenance visits. One Tesla advantage is having a wider service network. While Rivian is hoping to open 150 locations by the end of the year, Tesla already has over 1,000 locations open around the world. But how did these options shake down in terms of price? Again, they are very similar. If we're comparing premium to premium models head to head, the Tesla comes in a couple grand under $55K, and the Rivian a couple grand over $55K. Keep in mind, this premium all-wheel drive R2 won't go into production until later in 2026, as the performance model is only being delivered right now. So there you have it, the objective winner. Do you agree? Well, here are a couple things to consider when picking one for you personally, and then we'll tell you which ones each of us would put in our respective driveways. I'm going to start with the R2. So a big thing would be the additional cargo capacity as well as the versatility of the storage. Also, you have better off-road performance. And personally, the boxy design versus the egg-like shape I think is an advantage for the Rivian.
Now, on the flip side, the Model Y should be your choice if you're looking for better rear seat features. It does have a couple advantages back there, as well as better on-road handling. It does drive a little bit better, once more, because of that boxy shape of the R2. Now, speaking of the areas where one is excelling over the other, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. We've looked at numerous categories of vehicles and ranked them in individual spaces such as cargo capacity, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain choices, and value. And you can sort the list based on the category that's most important to you to really make an informed buying decision. So you won't want to miss out on that. That's at carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. But which would we put in our driveways?
I'm going to pick the Rivian R2. I certainly like the design of it better than the Model Y, and I also think the interior is better executed with more luxury features.
I could not agree more, and there are so many Model Ys I'd also like to stand out a little bit more than that. Now, which are you going to pick? Let us know your thoughts down below. We're curious to hear it. And if you're looking to buy a Model Y, a Rivian R2, or any vehicle, we'd encourage you to also check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use if you plan on doing dealership negotiation. You can find a link to that in our video description down below, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off. Hopefully you enjoyed this comparison. If you did, we'd really appreciate you subscribing down below and becoming a part of our family. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.